When the Passover meal and the cleaning of the dishes in the room had begun, Jesus stopped and got our attention. He was planning on going to Gethsemane, and we were all to join him. I took a breath and felt my resolve quicken. This was my time to act. In the hubbub of everyone's tidying up and preparing to leave, it was easy for me to slip out to the street unnoticed. Besides, everyone was still preoccupied with trying to understand the meaning of our Master's new words and Passover rituals. No one suspected that I was headed to the Sanhedrin to betray the Master. As I left their company, I took a deep breath of the cool night air, but my chest still felt heavy. Bent on my destination, I didn't stop to think about why I was hurried through the quiet streets. When I arrived at the dwelling of the high priest, the doorkeeper recognized me and ushered me in immediately. The elders were still gathered after having finished their Passover meal. They were eager to hear my news, and their eyes glittered as I told them of Jesus' plan to go to Gethsemane. Yes, the Passover crowds could turn on them if they found out about Jesus' arrest, but the threat of Jesus to their well-controlled religious world now forced their hand. The risk was worth the taking. As for me, I was eager to see Jesus surprise them. He wouldn't stay in a cage long. He would rise up and show them his true power once and for all. I was so certain of it. "This is ideal," one of the elders exclaimed. I understood his thinking. With the last of the Passover revealers certainly in bed, the timing would be perfect. And because Gethsemane was outside the city walls, they could arrest Jesus with little risk of the crowds finding out. However, I knew just how devoted Jesus' disciples were to him. Peter, James, and John bore the powerful muscles of years of hauling heavy fish nets and fighting the outdoor elements. Several carried swords, and all of them were in their own way unpredictable and impulsive. I warned the elders to take no chances, to make sure their soldiers were ready for anything. No chances were to be taken. The Sanhedrin's guards came armed with swords and clubs, and if they were to scuffle with this band of untrained rebels, it would be suppressed quickly. The sleeping city would not hear it. As the guards gathered and armed themselves, I tried to reassure myself over and over that Jesus' plan included revealing his strong hand. He would be glad I set the stage for his victorious revolution. Right? I thought I knew better than he how things should unfold. In reality, I had no idea just how revolutionary he was. Looking back, I see how masterfully Jesus' plan had been in motion the whole time. He knew all along the religious leaders would react with fear and suspicion to his ministry, no matter how peaceful his message and kingdom were. My greed or self-deceit had been more than apparent to him, but he never stepped in to intervene. This all became clear too late. Don't make the same mistake as I did, friends. Reframe the way you look at the Master and at all the characters of this Calvary story. Can you now see that it was us, his betrayers, his jailers and torturers, his prosecutors and executioners, who by our actions should have been being tried, judged, and justly condemned? Jesus, the Lamb of God and Son of Man, he was the only true innocent one. It would be easy to conclude that Jesus lost all control of his life when he was arrested, but don't believe that for a minute. The Sanhedrin finding Jesus ready and waiting for them in the garden was no accident. It was the next step in his unlikely plan to bring salvation to the world.